Hello friend, welcome back to my kitchen. If you're new, my name is Becky and this is my husband Josh.
Hey everyone.
He is going to be over here in the chat talking with you all, grabbing questions, interrupting me at any point needed to engage in conversation or to ask your all's questions. And today we are making a carrot cake. My parents were over last week and they helped me harvest the last of the carrots that I grew in my 2024 garden. And then we planted the potatoes and onions. And as we were harvesting the carrots, my mom and I kept telling my dad that we're gonna make you a carrot cake for Easter because it's my dad's favorite cake. But we are celebrating 3 birthdays on Easter and everyone else requested a cake. And so my mom and I thought, we don't really need 4 different cakes because we're already making other kind of cakes. So I thought, I'm just gonna make my dad a carrot cake and I'm gonna bring him a carrot cake. So that's what we're doing today. And I thought I'd bring you guys along because carrot cake just goes really well for an Easter dessert. And I have lots of carrots from my garden, so we're gonna use them up together. And actually, I'll go more into that later. So the recipe that I'm making today will be linked down below, and I am making a new recipe to me because the recipe that I always make for carrot cake is a layered cake. And I had never made it as a bundt cake. Bundt cakes are actually my favorite cakes to make and my favorite cakes to eat because they don't have very much frosting. You get more cake in each bite, and I just really, really like that. And they're easy, and they freeze well. So if you need to make a cake in advance, they freeze well, because I actually made this cake earlier. I haven't tasted it yet. We're gonna do a taste test with you. And the cake I make right now, I'm gonna freeze.
Can you actually show the syrup?
Oh yeah.
Because we had someone send it to us in our P.O. box. They sent it a while ago. Can you do the other side?
Oh yeah, sorry.
They sent it a while ago, and we're finally opening it, and we're really excited because
we should taste it. We haven't tasted it yet.
Oh yeah.
I was kind of waiting for something special to make it in, and I am deviating from the recipe a little bit in that I'm candying. We're gonna put this on top as kind of decoration, and I thought it would be good to not only just toast the walnuts for decoration, but to candy them a little bit. So I thought, instead of candying you're waiting for me?
Yeah, I'm waiting for you.
Instead of candying the walnuts like I normally do with an egg white and sugar, I'm gonna try with this maple syrup.
Oh yeah, that's good stuff. Oh man.
Wow.
That's good.
That is fantastic.
Amazing.
Oh, so I had to make 2 cakes. One that I'm making with you right now, and then one I baked up this morning because we're not gonna sit here for an hour and wait for a cake to bake and then let it cool before we frost it. So we're gonna make the cake, and I can use the cake that I made earlier to frost, and then we can cut into it and give a taste test. So the one that I'm making right now, I'm gonna wrap up and freeze, and I am gonna bring this cake to Josh's family's Easter. And I'll just pull it out of the freezer. Probably, what time is dinner on? Or do you know? 5 o'clock.
I think it's 5, yeah.
So I'll pull it out in the morning. It'll be thawed by evening, and then I'll make a quick little glaze or frosting to put on top. And I won't have to cook a cake on Sunday. Okay, so here is our walnuts, and I can see I actually didn't mix that in well enough. I didn't want to just add raw walnuts to the top of our cake, and so toasting it is really going to increase the depth of flavor, and it's also going to add some sweetness and a crunch because I have now candied them. So I have my oven preheated, the one that's behind you, because this oven is kind of on the fritz, and I didn't know if it would die on me, and I didn't want that. So I'm gonna throw this in the oven. I have my oven light on, and we're gonna toast those while we make our cake. I have a couple of the things pre-measured out, and then a couple things I'm gonna have to weigh out as we go. The first thing I'm gonna do is actually grate these carrots. And I did pull out my food processor. And so tomorrow I'm going to my mom's house pretty early in the morning, and we are gonna be prepping for my side of the family's Easter that we're having on Saturday, tomorrow. And I need some shredded carrots for the mac salad that we're making. So I'm gonna shred enough carrots for our carrot cake. Plus, for the macaroni salad, because I figured if I already have this messy, these carrots are already washed and sliced, we won't have to think about it tomorrow. So if you want to answer some questions, Josh, will you mute me while I shred 2.5 cups of carrots? That would be great.
Sure. You're down a little bit. Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get this going. I'm just gonna shred carrots here.
There's been a lot of hellos, so not a lot of questions yet, but let's see here. Someone asked, I'm actually kind of curious, someone asked if we can have if we need to refrigerate the maple syrup or if it can stay out. I'm not sure. Maybe those of you that are more experienced with, I guess, legitimate maple syrup could chime in. And then I'll, I guess, read it out if I see the answers. And then someone, Cheryl asks if there are any tips for using Bosch mixers. I guess for us, what we've found is like it's best for things where top loading is beneficial, like doughs. I think Becky prefers it for baking doughs, versus we prefer to use the KitchenAid for, I think, cookies and. I hope I'm not getting that backwards.
Okay.
We've also had a couple of questions. You want me to turn you up now? You good? That was a lot. I think that's roughly where you were.
That's more than I need. Perfect. That's what I need, I think, for both recipes.
We also got some questions on bees. There's no real updates on bees. We did have, after the last update video came out where we told everyone that the bees did not make it, we had some people that were concerned we like threw away the bees that were hibernating, and we had some concerns like that. I can assure you we did not throw away hibernating bees. It was very warm. The hive was bustling with activity that was not the hive. So I promise you we did not throw away hibernating bees.
The hive is still out there, actually, so we did not.
For sure.
I'm just looking at how many carrots we need. We need 447 grams or 2.5 cups of carrots, but I do need to squeeze the liquid, a little bit of the liquid out of that. So I put in an extra about 25-30 grams there, and I might add a few more, but that's what we're gonna have there for now. I'm gonna rinse my hand off real quick.
The answer, by the way, is to refrigerate the syrup. And I appreciate everyone bearing with me as I tried to talk about the Bosch mixer. I don't know if you've watched The King's Speech, but that was the King's Speech situation where I can't really hear myself over the carrots.
I'm
trying
I didn't
to
know
talk.
what the question was. I couldn't hear anything.
Yeah, it was very loud. So I was trying to talk over it, but it's a little bit of a challenge.
So now we're actually gonna make the cake batter. I love this kind of recipe too, and a lot of bundt cakes are like this, where I am not even going to pull out the mixer. I'm gonna use the mixer for making the frosting, but you can just use a wooden spoon, and it's just so easy. I'm gonna weigh out these ingredients. The recipe that I'm making for you has weights and cups. So if you're more comfortable using cup measurements, go ahead and use cups and tablespoons and things like that. I have just, over the last about 2 years, really getting comfortable weighing my ingredients out. And it is actually really nice because you use a lot less dishes. Now I did pre-measure some of my wet ingredients, so I got some dishes dirty, but you don't have to use as many cups and spoons because you can just weigh it all into one bowl, and you can use one spoon to scoop everything out. And to be honest, I actually made 2 of these cakes this morning, so I'm gonna have 2 cakes in my freezer because I messed up the sugar and the brown sugar and the white sugar this morning. But I think it would have tasted fine. I just wanted it to look correct for you when you see what the cake looks like when we cut into it to give it a taste test. And carrot cake is one of my favorite cakes. It's not one of Josh's favorite cakes, but I really like it.
Can you give me a little testing?
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Like how you would normally talk?
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Is it too quiet?
It's gotten quieter for some reason.
Uh-oh.
Well, now it's higher, so hopefully that helps.
Probably from when I was turned down earlier.
Try to get back to normal.
So now in here I have brown sugar and white sugar, and I actually used my vanilla sugar because this recipe does not call for any vanilla. And I have vanilla sugar, and that'll just add some nice vanilla flavor without any of the moisture. Now I'm gonna add my pre-measured out oil. And I was watching a reel, some chef did a comparison on using oil versus butter in cakes. And there's more fat in oil than there is in butter, because butter has a lot of water, or not a lot, but I think it has like 10 or 15% water. And so you do tend to get a more moist cake when you use oil. So if you want the butter flavor, he was saying, and you want the moistness of oil, sometimes you can do like a half and half. But this recipe called for oil, so that's what I'm using. Now we're gonna put in here 4 eggs. We're gonna mix this between each egg. My mom and I are making a cake tomorrow where it does the reverse creaming. You actually cream in the butter into the flour. I don't know if any of you guys have done that before.
Like a biscuit?
Yeah, but you like, I thought that drawer was open. You like really cream it in, not like, you don't cut it in like a biscuit. You use your mixers, and I've seen people do that, but I've never tried it. So I'm excited to try that tomorrow with her. Have any of you guys done that before? It's called reverse creaming, I think. Now these eggs are room temperature, but I did not take them out earlier today. I took them out about 10 minutes before we got started. And if you forget to have your eggs be room temperature, just throw them in some hot tap water for a few minutes and they warm up really quickly.
Do you know where you got your rounded handle wooden spoons?
Rounded, these ones?
Maybe those ones? That seems like a rounded handle.
This one is from when we went to that olive oil farm in Oregon. It is an olive wood spoon.
So maybe not a simple online find.
No, because I don't know what brand it is. They probably just bought it from a real retailer, but I really like it. So if we ever go back to there, I'm gonna buy a couple more of them. The only thing is I don't put these ones in my dishwasher because they were kind of expensive. And so you shouldn't really put any wooden spoons in your dishwasher. Josh, would you be willing to take just a quick peek at our nuts? I just want to make sure that they don't overcook. But my cheap ones, I do, just out of convenience, knowing. Oh, nice. I'm just wanting to see if it's brown at all.
Yeah, I mean, they're all brown.
Oh, let me. They started brown. Okay, they are bubbling, but I'm gonna give them another few minutes, 4 minutes maybe. And I'm gonna shut this door because it just started pouring.
It is coming down.
I don't know
like
if you guys
crazy.
can hear it, but it's kind of distracting for me because it's so loud. So here is the first part of our cake. We got one more thing we're gonna add to this, and then we'll add our dry ingredients.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the one thing I don't like about those spoons is that we have to hand wash them.
And Josh does more dishes than I do, so.
There's something freeing about just tossing them in the dishwasher.
No, you don't want to toss these ones in the dishwasher.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And I do oil these about once a week. I pull out all my cutting boards, and I never used to oil my really inexpensive wooden spoons, but now that I oil this one, I go ahead and I oil all of my wooden spoons now. I just use avocado oil. I know you can buy like mineral oil, but I don't have that, so I just use not olive oil, I use avocado oil, and it seems to work just fine. You guys can tell me if I'm making a big mistake on that. So now we're gonna go ahead and measure out our dry ingredients. I'm gonna check those nuts one more time. Josh, can you pull those out in 3 minutes? We're gonna call that done.
Sure.
Okay, so now we're going to just weigh out our flour. And I'm not gonna sift this or anything, and I can just put this right on top. I don't need to get an extra bowl out or anything because I'll just mix in my spices into the top part of this.
By the way, we've had a few people say that the reverse creaming method makes an amazing cake.
Oh, good, okay.
So that's good.
That's exciting. I'm excited to try it. So to my flour, I have some baking powder, baking soda, and salt. I did pre-measure that. I did not want to mess up the leavening agents, and I'm just gonna whisk that in just a little bit here. And now I am changing the recipe again. I am gonna add cardamom to this. One of Josh's friends is Swedish, and he likes to bake a lot, and he makes like cardamom buns. They're like traditional Swedish, right, buns?
Yeah.
And I was this morning looking at my spices, and I thought, I think cardamom in a carrot cake would be really good. So we're gonna do that today.
It would.
Let's see, where's my measurement?
Someone asked if you can pack brown sugar and still weigh it the same.
Well,
I feel like
you don't have to, the reason a recipe calls to pack brown sugar is so that you are getting a more consistent weight or a more consistent volume, because if you just scoop it, it's light and fluffy and it's not gonna be a standard measurement. So you pack it down, and a recipe will say that, so that it's you get a more standard measurement. So if you weigh it out, it doesn't matter if you pack it or not, because it's not about the consistency of the brown sugar going into your cake. It's about trying to get the most accurate amount of brown sugar. I hope that makes sense. And one thing that I have been doing that I find really interesting, like this morning when I was making the cake that we're gonna decorate, I was actually measuring everything out and weighing it at the same time. And when I measure stuff, I was always getting at least 25 to 50 grams more than what the recipe called for. Which I guess if everything is 25 to 50 grams more, then it's consistent. But you know, sugar and
well, it depends
flour.
on the ratio too.
Yes.
Because 25 to 50 grams more is on something that needs less is more problematic.
Exactly.
Someone asks if there's a sweeter taste to the cake when you use homegrown carrots.
You know, I'm not sure. I've been using homegrown carrots for carrot cake for the last like 3 years, and I haven't made one without. I'm sure probably you can't tell because you have so much sugar and spices and things like that.
But it feels good. It feels
good.
better.
It's an accomplishment.
Yeah. Especially when you got those big carrots that you got last year.
Mm-hmm. So now I grated in some fresh nutmeg, and I got a new microplane, and it works so well. And it's a lot sharper, which is really nice.
There's probably no way to sharpen those things, huh?
I know, I was thinking about that this morning. I don't really think there is a way to sharpen them. So I'm gonna zero this out, and I'm gonna mix my dry ingredients into my wet. And I know not to mix my batters on my scale. I take it off and I mix it. See how easy this is? Oh, Josh, would you get those nuts out of the oven?
Yeah.
There's I put pot holders right there for you.
I did not set a timer.
That's okay.
This one time.
That's my problem half the time. Let's see them.
They smell really good.
Oh, those look great. You want to show them?
I don't like nuts and they smell good.
Those look beautiful. Okay.
Still want it at 350?
Yes, because we are going to bake the cake at 350 too. The one thing that was interesting about this recipe, it said to make sure your oven was preheated for 15 minutes before you actually bake it, which I thought was interesting. So now I'm going to put this on here. I'm going to zero this out, and I'm going to squeeze out some of the extra moisture just right into this bowl, and then I can weigh out how many grams of carrots we need. The volume measurement for this is 2.5 cups. But the weight measurement for this is going to be 247 grams of carrots. Oh gosh, that's exactly how many I need.
Oh, wow.
And I'm gonna have to, Mom, if you're watching, I'll pick up carrots on the way to your house tomorrow because I just used all the carrots today for the carrot cake. Okay.
Annette asked if there's a certain type of soil that you use when you're planting carrots.
I grow everything in raised beds, so the soil that I have in my raised beds is pretty light and fluffy. So I don't use anything different than I use for the rest of my garden. But I just watched a reel this afternoon when I was getting ready today, and the gardener said, I don't remember who it was, but she said when she plants her carrots, and I think this is brilliant, especially if you're somewhere where you have harder soil, is she digs a trench and then she puts seed starting mix. So really light, airy, fluffy soil right in that trench, and then she plants the carrots in that so that they don't have a hard time germinating, because carrot seeds are super teeny tiny and they are sometimes hard to germinate, and you got to keep them moist the whole time they are germinating. I just thought that was a brilliant idea.
And then what kind of carrots do you plan to plant this year?
The only carrots I'm going to be growing this year are called Bolero. They're a hybrid carrot, and the reason I like them is they actually get really long, and they're basically the same diameter from the top to the bottom, which is really nice. They're a lot easier to peel, and they're a lot easier to do stuff with in the kitchen versus a carrot that's super big at top and then super tapered at the bottom. So I'm going to use some of this cooking spray that has flour in it. I only use this when I'm making bunts because I went through like 3 or 4 bundt cakes in a row that didn't come out. I invested in a new bundt pan because I think the reason that my bunts weren't coming out is because my bundt pan was super scratched up. And so I've started now to ensure that my bundt cakes come out. I use this spray, and I think getting a new bundt pan is going to help.
What kind of oil did you use for the cake again?
I used avocado oil. You can use whatever kind of oil you want. You can use olive oil if you like the olive oil taste. I actually read a recipe that was an olive oil carrot cake, bundt cake. And then you can use, if you use canola oil or vegetable oil or soybean oil or peanut oil, whatever kind of oil you cook with, you can use. But I tend to use avocado oil when I want a neutral flavored oil. Okay.
Then Tammy asked, how do you measure sugar when you're replacing sugar with honey or vice versa?
I'm not sure because I don't do that substitution very often. Our bundt cake is ready to go in the oven. So that's how easy it is to make the bundt cake. It's much easier than making a layered cake because it's one cake and you're done. And then when it comes to decorating, it's super, super easy because you don't have to worry about frosting layers. Okay, so we have our,
How long do you want
I
that
should
in?
have put on this is salt too.
Do you want a timer for that?
55 minutes.
55?
Mm-hmm.
Siri set a timer for 55 minutes.
I made 2 of these earlier. One of them is right here. So through the power of television, this is what the cake looks like 55 minutes later. And in that bundt pan with that spray, it came out no problem. And now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna push some of these dishes to the side.
Do you have a top for the maple syrup?
I do, it's right
That's got
here.
me especially nervous.
Yeah, we don't wanna spill that, that's
Sweet.
for sure.
Irene asked if you can grind whole corn kernels in your grain mill.
I can, yeah.
You can?
I just don't have any corn to grind.
That's pretty big.
What's big?
That's a large kernel. So
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
surprised.
I just have never done it, so I know I can. There's like a lot of things I can grind in it. I have not explored that yet though. So now we're gonna make a simple kind of cream cheese frosting glaze to go on this. And I am gonna sift this powdered sugar because that's cream cheese in there. My powdered sugar might be a little bit lumpy. And something like a frosting, I'm not worried about measuring it out with my scale. I've got a cup measure here I've already used. I'm gonna go ahead and just measure this out. Because frosting is more about the consistency than it is about the preciseness of it. And I think the recipe called for 1 cup of powdered sugar. I'm glad I looked.
Shoot.
So this is kind of a simple, just like a light glaze. 2 tablespoons of cream. I'm just gonna eyeball this. If you wanted this more of like a drippy, drippy glaze, you would put more cream. If you wanted it more like a thicker frosting, put less. A lot of times when I do bunts, if any of you guys have better than bundt cake bakeries around you, I like how they frost on their frosting. So a lot of times when I make a bundt and I make a cream cheese frosting, I will put the frosting in a Ziploc bag and put it on the cake, just like the Everything But the Bundt bakeries bake their cakes.
We got some questions about when the chicks are coming.
Oh yeah.
What's the timeline on that again?
They are coming June 9th, hopefully. I had a friend order from the same company and they got their chickens canceled. They got 2 delayed emails and then canceled.
Oh no.
So I'm a little worried. I know that I can get chicks probably at like my Tractor Supply. We don't have Tractor Supply. At my Wilco.
I have several emails out to chicken coop companies because I'd like to work with someone on that rather than make my own. But
You can talk about that while I do this.
okay, that's what I was doing.
Perfect. I just want to
I'll
let you
turn
know I
you
was
down.
gonna.
It's not. That one's not very loud though.
It's not.
That's not bad.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll just leave you up.
Okay.
But I've had trouble getting a hold of people, so there's a chance I'll just end up building our own chicken coop again, which could be great or bad. I don't know. We'll find out. I have some confidence in my building abilities, but that's a large project this time around.
Yeah, because we're gonna build. I kind of want. Well, I don't kind of. I do want a chicken coop that's got where it's like a big shed basically, where I can walk into it, and I want to have an area where I could, in the future, brood my chicks in the actual shed part, and where I could store their feed. So it's like a sturdy structure.
Yep. Which makes it a little more challenging. We also have a lot of tree coverage right in the area we want to put it. So if it gets too tall, we brush it into those trees a little bit, but we should have something here in the next few weeks, something planned out, whether it's me doing it or a company. Okay, that's a little louder now.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Trying to get that cream cheese. I should have creamed the cream cheese first. I up-potted my tomatoes yesterday. My tomatoes are like this tall. They look really good. And some exciting news. I saved a ton of zinnia and dahlia seeds last year with my parents and Josh when everyone helped me clean the garden up. And I started, I think, like 50 of each of the zinnias and dahlias, and I had probably a 95% germination rate on the seeds that I saved. I also started probably the same amount of store-bought zinnia seeds, and I had like a 20% germination rate. I started them the same day, the exact same way. They've been watered exactly the same, and so that was kind of interesting. Okay, here we go. We are now going to frost the cake. So I think what I'm going to do is just put the frosting right, or glaze, it's kind of more of a glaze, right in the middle. And I'm going to let the glaze do its thing. I was hoping it would kind of drip down because that's what it looks like in the picture. But you know, I did not measure out the cream. I eyeballed the cream. So maybe I can kind of help it kind of drip down a little bit.
It's starting to go a little bit.
Is it? I think it just needs a little bit of weight to it. It's not going to cover it fully. I don't want it to cover it fully. And I don't think there's enough frosting. I just kind of want it to look a little drippy.
This side's dripping really nice.
My dad has a sweet tooth, and growing up, my mom wouldn't really make dessert until after dinner because my dad would be like, "What's for dessert?" And one of her go-tos is she would take a yellow box mix and she would add poppy seeds to it and lemon juice, and then she would make just a simple powdered sugar glaze, but she would just take powdered sugar and lemon juice and put it on the top. And that was like our go-to dessert after dinner when there was no dessert that was made. My mom was actually telling me the other day that she didn't grow up in a house that had dessert like every night, but my dad likes to have a little sweet treat every night. That looks pretty good.
That looks great.
Okay. Now, let's see.
And the oil spray that Becky was using is it was Pam,
Yeah.
but it's flour. There's flour.
This
in
is
it.
just Pam baking with flour. And then there's, I think the name brand or the one that started it all is called Baker's Joy. But my local little grocery store doesn't carry Baker's Joy, I think.
They didn't last time I was in there, so
Oh, look at this. We basically made like,
it's like caramel.
yeah, like candy.
I don't like nuts, but that is kind of enticing.
It's kind of nice to do something to it. Now, what I wish I had done is right when I took this out of the oven, or when I put it in the oven, I wish I had sprinkled a little bit of flaky salt. Maybe I'll still do that. Yeah, I'm gonna still do that. Let's see. No, there it is. You can see inside my messy cupboard. They still had this at Costco. I just went to Costco yesterday with my mom. No, was it yesterday? I don't know. I went to Costco the other day with my mom, and they still had this. That's not gonna stick to that. I'll just put it on the top here. I'm just breaking this up a little bit, and then I'm going to sprinkle it on the top. And there we go. Easy peasy. I love a bunt because it's just so easy. Josh's mom makes bunts too a lot.
Yeah, she's a big fan.
She's a big fan. I think every birthday cake I've ever had that your mom's made has been a bundt cake.
Which we kind of initially we resisted because
Really?
Well, I like the layer of frosting, it kind of moistens the cake, but now I realize that we could just scoop some extra frosting out of the middle of the bun. I think she does that on purpose. She puts a little extra in the middle.
Yeah, so what Renee does is she uses a tub of frosting and she'll put it in the microwave for like 30 seconds and then she can just drizzle it over the top. And it works really well.
It's good stuff.
I'm really loading this up here. But if people don't like nuts and you do this, the nice thing is they can easily pick the nuts off because I didn't put nuts in the cake. And I didn't put raisins in the cake. Do you all put raisins in your carrot cake?
No, thank you.
Okay, I'm just going to sprinkle.
That's pretty.
Good amount of salt. Let me go wash my hands. And then I'll give you guys a close-up look at that. And then we're going to cut into it and give it a taste test.
Those of you asking about the hand mixer, that is a KitchenAid.
Yeah, you could probably link that.
And it's a battery operated, which is kind of nice. And it is linked in the description already in Becky's equipment section.
I bought that because you all told me I needed it, and I really, really like it. All right. So here is our bundt cake. I think it turned out pretty. I got to get a thumbnail. I don't know, Josh, if you noticed that the cake you put in the thumbnail had pumpkins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's what I could find with stock images, so.
There we go.
It's limited.
Okay, you ready for a piece of cake?
I am. I kind of wanted some of the topping, honestly.
Huh?
I kind of wanted just a little bit of topping. But,
Oh, sure, here. I could have given this to you.
I'll get it in a slice. That's fine.
Would you be willing to go into the pantry and grab 2 cake plates? Because I don't have any cake plates.
Cake plates.
The green ones.
Like for our consumption?
Yeah, we're going to eat
Okay.
this.
Like plates for us.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Is it good? Josh is just snacking on it on the way to the pantry. So we got the dishes that I have here as wedding gifts, and we've been married 10 years, and we have broken all but 2 of the dessert plates. So I just need to order more dessert plates, and the 2 that I have are in the dishwasher. So I actually bought some at IKEA, and I really like them, but they're just not out here. So I'm gonna cut into this. I'm just gonna do a couple little slices here because we haven't eaten dinner yet. Okay. All right. Oh my goodness. Okay, that looks good. Oh, another thing I learned is that when you bake a cake, I was watching Instagram Reels again, and there was another baker, and he said you want to bake the cakes to the internal temperature of 200 to 205 degrees. If you bake the cake past 212, that's when a lot of the moisture starts to evaporate, and that's really when you get a dry cake. So this cake, I'm pretty sure I took out of the oven when it was 209 degrees.
Sweet.
And something to note, I added more cinnamon than the recipe called for. The recipe called for, I think, I can tell you, it called for 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and I think I put a tablespoon of cinnamon, which would be 3 teaspoons. Ready to give it a try?
I am.
So I have a piece of the candied pecan cake and some frosting.
Okay, I need a little bit of the pecan.
See, I like a bundt cake for the reason Josh would prefer a layered cake is I like less frosting.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Do you like it with the cardamom? Can you taste the cardamom?
I can, yeah. There's a little lemony flavor in there. It's great. The little bit of a spice in it is tasty. Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good.
I just tasted the cake without the cream cheese frosting, and that's very good. I don't know if oh yeah, there's the cardamom. That's good. Yeah. I like cardamom and carrot cake.
Nice work.
Thank you.
And we got plenty of cake now, so.
We have 3 cakes once that one comes out of the oven. But one of them we're gonna have with Josh's family. One of them I'm gonna get a gift. And then apparently I'm gonna put one in the freezer probably.
Yeah.
So do we want to answer a few questions?
Okay. Yes, we have, I guess it's a little shorter. Huh?
Yeah, that was really easy to make. See, even live and filming it, super easy to make a homemade cake from scratch.
How long do you think that carrot cake will last in the refrigerator? A week?
Yeah, probably.
That's kind of my
Maybe
default.
5 days.
I usually say like a week on anything at the most.
I think something like a cake that has a lot of sugar in it, you can get away with quite some time, but probably 5 days. And then it'll start to dry out.
Someone asked or said that you didn't show what you added before you added the flour. But that doesn't seem likely.
Oh, maybe you came into the live late.
There is a recipe linked.
Yeah.
So if you want the recipe, and you should be able to scroll back on YouTube back to the beginning.
If you joined us late, then you can skip back to the front of the live. Because I think I showed everything.
That's one of the best parts about YouTube Live is that it's like you could skip back, and other streaming services don't do that. So.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a whole thing with Twitch. It's a whole thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm not in the Twitch community.
No. Holly asked if we will ever get a new oven.
Well, if we ever remodel or when we remodel this kitchen, we will probably get a new oven. But I do just need to get a new panel for this. It works. I just didn't want it to die on me because if I'm just cooking in here and it dies, it doesn't matter. But live, I didn't want it to die on me, so I just put it in that oven.
It needs like a new control board.
Control board.
It occasionally will just throw an error. We have to unplug it, replug it in.
Yeah.
It's kind of annoying.
I think what's actually happened of why the control board has died is from me cleaning it, spraying on it, I think. I don't know.
I think it's an internal component, but who knows?
Who knows? It still works. I just have to unplug it, plug it back in, and then it works. But when we remodel, we'll get a new oven.
There's a couple of questions about the knives that you use. Like, what was the small knife that you used to... I lost it. There's too many.
So when Josh and I first got married, we got a set as a wedding gift. We got Ziegler J.A. Henkel knives. We got a set of these, and these are what I've used for 10 years. A gift from one of you is I got a Cutco, and this is one of my favorite knives. And it says Acrehomestead on it. I love this knife. That was from Heather. And then I do have a set of Japanese knives, Nakano knives, and so that's what I have.
Those are very nice as well.
I just found, I don't remember the name, or I would tell you the name. I think, well, I don't think I'm gonna be able to get there this weekend, maybe next weekend. There is a knife company in Southeast Portland that makes all their own knives in Southeast Portland. They hone them,
Huh.
and the whole factory is in Portland, and you can come to their showroom and look at their knives, and maybe I'll take you guys along. Maybe when I go shopping someday, maybe, I don't know. But I just found them on Instagram, and I was actually a sourdough person went there that I follow, and she was in town and went to this knife company. And so I was thinking it might be kind of cool to get a Portland-made knife.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone asked what the flowers are behind you.
Those are tulips.
They're a little droopy.
Yeah.
We just got them too.
I just bought these today. And look at them.
They're kind of sad.
I think it's now, I bought some tulips last week, and they made me really happy. And they're not very expensive right now because they're in season. So I think now that's going to be my flower shelf again. Flower shelf. It was a flower shelf during the winter, and now it's a flower shelf during the spring and summer.
It's perfect.
Because my wheat was up there.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty proud of myself for that one.
Can you say that again? I think I missed something.
Flower, like it's a pun. I
see.
You didn't
Sorry,
get it.
I was reading something at the beginning. No, that's very good.
Josh is super into puns.
I like that.
He's super punny.
It was worth having you reiterate.
It's not as funny when you have to explain it, but.
Someone asked if you've ever had professional cooking lessons.
I have never had, well, I've taken some cooking classes before. There used to be before COVID, and then COVID, I think, killed the company, but it was a Portland cooking school, and you could just go take cooking classes. I took a gnocchi and pasta making class there. I took a pig butchery class there. Josh and I, when we were first married, we would usually take a staycation for our anniversary, and one year during that staycation, I just went and I butchered a pig. Not like butchered the pig, but took it from the half of the
Broke
pig
it down.
and broke it down into its parts. And that was fun. That's about all I've done though. But I've been actually looking at cooking classes that are available around here, and there's some different cooking schools that, Josh and I have done some cooking classes before together.
Yeah, we did, it was like Spanish tapas or something.
It was a Spanish dinner. Josh's dad for Christmas one year got us a cooking class at, what was that called? Syrah Table. It used to be like it was like William and Sonoma, like a really fancy cookware place, but I think they went out of business. But they used to have like an area where they would teach classes. So once Josh's dad got us that cooking class, I think we went like 2 more times, because if you bought a cooking class while you were there, you got like 20% off the next one. I forgot about that. We did that a couple times.
Yeah, we did.
That was
I think
fun.
that was pre-COVID.
COVID. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pre-2020.
Yeah, can we set...
I don't know if you can say that word or not, but
I don't know. Well, we just said it, so...
That's true.
It is what it is.
I think it's okay to say it now.
Someone asked if you're able to use the carbon steel on a glass top stove.
Yeah.
Is it pretty flat? It's flat enough?
Carbon steel?
The carbon steel, like your griddle?
Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question. I would look on their website. If it was me and my stove, I would use it, because I use cast iron on all of our glass. We had glass cooking stoves in our last 2 houses, and I used cast iron, and cast iron is much heavier, but you're not supposed to use cast iron.
It would make me cringe.
Oh, it
A
did?
little bit. Yeah.
I never thought about it.
I might be a little bit more on the particular scale
He is.
than Becky.
Yeah, he is.
You like to get things done, though.
I'm better at like getting things done, but Josh is the one that's better at getting things done well.
Just much more slowly,
Yeah.
or maybe not at all sometimes.
So it's a good balance.
Yeah.
It's a good balance, yeah.
We have maybe a couple more questions.
Yeah.
Call it good. We do have a question about if we plan to expand the garden at all.
Not our raised beds. I'm really, really happy with the size we went with. I feel like it is plenty big enough for the abundance of harvest that I would like to get out of it. Plus, playing around with lots of flowers and things like that. I think what I will probably expand on over the years is maybe like doing grapes, but not like in the main garden. Maybe doing like a little vineyard. I want to redo our orchard. The trees have not been maintained very well. They didn't have a good consistent pruning, so they're all kind of wonky. But there's tons of flowers out there. We are going to get so much. As long as we don't get like a crazy late frost or something happen, I think we're going to get a lot of fruit off the trees this year. So maybe we'll plant like more fruit trees and stuff like that. But the
We
actual
might
veggie
move
garden.
them. We might have like a different spot for them.
Yeah. Kind of revamp and figure that out.
But the garden is pretty large already. Like it's too much to manage if we were to add more.
Yeah.
Other than a greenhouse, which will add a little bit more space, but
Yeah, but the greenhouse is more going to be for like starts
prep and stuff.
than
Yeah.
growing. I think what would be cool in the greenhouse is if we had like lettuce. Because I know where we live, we could have lettuce year round and some things like that if I planted them in the summer and let them grow and just go kind of dormant in the greenhouse. So maybe we would do stuff like that, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Lisa K has asked a few times. She really wants to know what kind of baking sheets you use.
Oh.
Are they stainless steel? And what brand are they? And do they warp when in the oven?
No, I have not had them warp in my oven. I just bought these. These are I love them. Josh, you can link them down below. They are the USA pans. So they're made in the US, and if you look them up, can you look and see what they're made out of? Because I don't remember what they're made out of, but they are fantastic. In this pan, I made what was that, lasagna? Where I made the lasagna, sheet pan lasagna on here, and look how clean it looks. Now, I still mostly use parchment paper on my pans, but that's not because these don't clean up well. It's because I do not like scrubbing sheet pans. The only thing is on Amazon, this was the biggest I could find. And I, for the last 3 years, have been using full-size sheet pans, and this is a half-size sheet pan. I don't know if this company makes a full-size sheet pan.
I guess, and the material is an aluminized steel.
Aluminized steel, that's right. That's what I wanted to say, but I didn't want to say it because I wasn't 100% sure. But this is what my new, what are they called? Loaf pans are made out of, and I really like these. These were actually, some of them were a gift. I got a gift. I don't know who sent them to me. I think the company or I don't know.
We got them in the P.O. box, I think.
Yeah. And I love them so much that I bought like 6 more of them. So I have enough because I need more than one sheet pan to do all the cooking that I do. So I'm not waiting on the sheet pans.
Yeah.
So I have an early morning. I think we're going to probably end it here. Do you think?
I think it's probably a good stopping
Okay.
point.
Well, this was so easy. We got done a little early today. I'll show you guys one more time. I want to thank you all for being here. If you guys want to make a delicious Easter dessert or just a dessert for your family to enjoy, this is a great recipe. I would absolutely make this one again. I want to thank you for being here. If you need other springtime recipes, I'll put a video right here where last year I made a coconut cream pie, a hummingbird cake, and one other spring dessert that I cannot remember what it is. Do you remember what it is?
No.
No. Okay. I'll put that video here. You can go enjoy between now and the next upload. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being you.